Hey fellas, what you're listening to here is a condensed cut of one of our most popular episodes, broken down to give you the frameworks, strategies, and stories that help good men become great men. Enjoy the show.
Well, I'll tell you. So I'll tell you sort of how it started, and then I'll kind of provide some context. So, like in our business, we run our business, and we have a very specific meeting rhythm that works really well. So the way we run our business is we have a quarterly management planning sort of meeting. We have an annual planning retreat. And once a week, we have a weekly management team meeting. And then our company is about 50, 60 people right now. So we have a management team, and then we have individual departments meet on a weekly basis, sometimes more than once a week. And then on a daily basis, we have a sort of huddle. And the huddles is just like a quick check-in. So what it means is like you've got sort of rocks, pebbles, and sand, right? You've got 4 times a year getting together in a really big, intentional, strategic way. Weekly, it's a bit more sort of the bridge between the strategic and the tactical. And then daily is tactical. And that meeting rhythm is really important, and it works really, really well. And so that's sort of been operating like a well-oiled machine over here and in terms of how we run our business. But for years, we didn't really have anything like that in the way we run our home. And a few years ago, I was introduced to this concept through Jim Shield and the idea of the family order meeting. And in our family, we call it special day. And the kids came up with that name. And it's for anyone not familiar with it, I'm sure you probably talked about it in past interviews, but just the short version is once a quarter-ish, you get together one-on-one with each of your kiddos. They get to plan the day. The only rules are there's no screen time, something that they get to pick, you do it together. And at the end of it, you have a meal where you get to discuss and just have a conversation and sit down and they pick where it is. And so we had been doing that for a few years. And that was something that was like a huge win in our house. In fact, so much so that if anybody who's listening to this, if you're not doing this with your kids, and I don't care if your kids are 1 year old or 21 or 31 or 41 years old and out of the house, I have friends of mine who have kids at every age in the spectrum. And everyone who does this says it's the absolute single best thing you can do for the relationship with your kids. So our kids, they look forward to these days more than even their own birthdays. Like so much so, like it's when's the next special day? What's the countdown? There's the whiteboard, the countdown and the special days. What are we going to do? The discussion. Are we going to do this? Are we going to do this? And my wife and I, we just have 2 kids, so we swap out. Like Saturday will be me with kid 1, and my wife will have kid 2, and then Sunday we'll flip flop. So it's like I want mom first, I want dad for whatever. Like just the whole thing. It's like such a discussion, and that's been awesome. But we didn't have anything that really connected in between there. So then fast forward to last year, I attended my first dad's retreat. Hal Elrod invited me and connected us, and that's how I was invited to the group. And I sat down with a few people. The 2 who had the biggest impact, I want to give them a shout out, were Mike McCarthy and Justin Donald, just about what a family meeting should be. Like I got the concept of like, all right, let's sit down and have a family meeting. But like, what the hell do you do like in a family meeting? And so I walked away from that retreat, super fired up, super excited. Like the CEO sort of in me was like, all right, we're going to do this. At the same time, I knew that if I went in guns blazing in the house, like this would be met with a little bit of resistance, right? Like, okay, guys, here's what we're going to do. Once a week, we're going to sit down and we're going to have a board meeting and blah, blah. So I kind of had to ease into it. So it was a bit rocky at first, right? Like there's a little bit of skepticism, especially my wife. And I would expect any spouse who isn't in that environment to have that same sort of level of skepticism. Like, what is this? Like, if somebody who's not in that environment, not having those conversations, doesn't hear the context, is only hearing it firsthand from you, not from everyone else that's implementing it and the type of impact it's had on their life. And so I sort of picked what I thought were the best pieces of what I learned from Mike, what I learned from Justin, and other conversations I had with some of the other dads in the group. And so we started it out, and we now have, I think, 7 components, 7 sort of pieces in the family meeting. And I'll explain what they are in just a minute.
You're not like most men. You don't just scroll, you study. You don't just parent, you lead. And you don't just read, you implement. And that's why we made this, a no-fluff, battle-tested list of books that sharpen men like you. Picked by our tribe, proven in real life, these books are going to stretch your mind, fuel your growth, and challenge who you thought you had to be. These aren't just great reads. They're tools to help you grow as a father, husband, and a man. Get the list and all the insights that bring it to life at frontrowdads.com/books.
But my plan was, all right, let's start by using something that I teach in our business, using the power of micro commitments to just start with adding one of these things a week over a period of 6 or 7 weeks until we've kind of layered each of them on top of one another. And so we started this when my kids were 4 and 7, just a bit of context. And what we do is once a week, Sunday mornings, we get together as a family after breakfast, and we have a flip chart in our house. This will make it a lot more real. I tell you, it's theoretically. So this is basically our family meeting agenda. See here. And let's walk through each of the pieces. So this is what it's evolved into. But what we do is you can see here, this was a kitty themed meeting. My oldest son, I have a cat here. So basically our schedule is this. We make breakfast, eat breakfast. I don't eat breakfast, but I make breakfast for the family. I clean up. And as I'm cleaning up, usually my 2 kids are setting up the family meeting, which means that they do the outline. And we have this whole flip chart. We have like 2 or 3 of them now. Just basically same thing. Every single week, you can see the same structure. You can keep a record of it. And you have, what did I say, 7 components. First component is just the date. So just writing the date, so we record it. And I'll break down each of these one by one. Next is wins, gratitude, weekly challenge, family values, family goals, and week ahead. So that's what we're looking at here. We start things out with wins. Is something we do in our company. Every meeting we start out with wins, just positive focus, right? Just a way to, what was like the best thing that happened to you this week? It can be anything at all. It can be a small win, big win, and it's great, and it's something that everyone gets to participate in. So we start there. Then we do a gratitude exercise, which is really gratitude focused on each person in the family. So who's going to go first? Okay, Bradley. All right. So, Henry, what's one thing that you're grateful for about Bradley this week? And the only rule is it has to be something specific. It can't be like, he's a good brother. It needs to be, on Tuesday, Bradley let me read his book, and he was really generous and thoughtful, something like that. So we write that down. So everyone has sort of a bit of a spotlight on them for a period of time.
That's awesome.
Then after that, this is something I learned from Dana Abraham, who's one of my clients, and she helps families with, she calls them super kids. The reality is children that have super gifts, but also have certain super challenges as well. So a lot of children who are on the spectrum, kids who have just challenges, right, in some way, shape, or form. And what she taught me was the importance of teaching your children about the ability to solve problems, about problem solving. So we as a family pick one problem that we're going to work together collectively to solve. And sometimes it's Bradley and Henry are fighting, and what solution do we come up with? Or now I'll give you an example of like solutions that we've come up with. So one of them was a bit chaotic, picking the kids up from school, coming home. So we decided everything we treat as an experiment. So we said, all right, as an experiment, let's just create an after-school checklist that will stick up on the wall when we come home. And we have to go through that checklist first, because it just felt like, go home, go to the bathroom, wash your hand, unpack your lunchbox. It was like the same thing every single time. And then now that's evolved into do the checklist. And then they know, right? So checklist is come home, take up your shoes, hang up your jackets, go to the bathroom, wash your hands, take your lunchbox out of your lunch bag and put it in the sink, and then have a snack, right? So it's like a sort of a thing. And we've started implementing checklists in times of transition in our house. Your kids are a little bit older, but like at that age, transition is really tough. Like we're going from one space to another. So I learned that from Dana. So that was an example of a challenge that we wanted to solve. This week's challenge is we watched the documentary Game Changers as a family. Have you seen it?
Yeah.
So we, this week, are doing a 7-day vegan challenge.
Did your kids like it? Did they went into it?
What's fascinating about it is it's my older son who's the one that suggested it. He, like after watching the documentary, said, let's do a vegan challenge this week.
Dude, I can't wait to hang out with him. It doesn't be so to meet him, man. So cool.
So yeah, I mean, it's been 3D chili, vegan quinoa stuffed peppers. I just made a chickpea coconut curry. And so we eat pretty healthy to begin with. Like we don't need a ton of meat, but just to go all in on this has been fun. So like that's an example of like, how do we improve our health? Let's do a 7-day vegan challenge. Then we have,
Guys, so many animals' lives have been spared because of that movie. It's unbelievable.
yeah. And I'll tell you, like, listen, my wife and I were vegan. We ate vegan for about 2 years, and then we stopped eating vegan, and then we kind of ate, still healthy, but not entirely vegan. And, inspired to try it out. So
Awesome, man.
here we are, man. So that's a challenge. Next is family value. So family value, we started this is one of the first things that we started when we started rolling this out. Basically what we would do is I tried to explain to kids what family values were, what a value meant. We have company values in our company and try to explain what they are. And we really just sort of let it form organically. Like, what are our values as a family? And just let anyone suggest them. And we ended up starting with a list of maybe 4 or 5. Well, before we knew it, it blew up into a list of 19, like 19. And we would spend so much time just trying to remember what they all were. And that was kind of like the challenge. And we ended up, as part of this weekly family meeting over Thanksgiving this year, at our first full family annual planning retreat. We got away from home. We brought the flip chart with us. And we went through an annual planning exercise. So we looked back at our wins from the past year, just like all of our wins, and celebrated all the wins from the year. We created a family vision board for like the vision for our future and where we want to go and things we want to do and everything like that. And then we went through the process of distilling our 19 family values down to 5. And so like when you have a 4-year-old helping you form family values, some of our family values are things like we help nature. Like that's it. Or we are friends. Like that's like, we're good friends. And so anyway, so like one of our family values has evolved into kind and respectful. So that encompasses probably 3 or 4 of the family values that we sort of distilled some things down. And so every week we pick a family value just to kind of put under the spotlight. And we talk about like, what's an example of this and how can we do a better job of this? And what does this mean? And we all brainstorm ways, how can we do better? Like, how can daddy do better? Being better, more kind and respectful and things like, so we do that. Then we do sort of our family goals for the week. These are sort of distilled down from our annual family vision, right? So like we have family vision, like one of the things that we've been really focused on, one of our family values is healthy mind and body. And so from that, we have a goal as a family to read more. And we each have like our yearly sort of book goals that we have. And we distill that down on a weekly basis to the number of pages we read on our individual books. And the key part of all this is it can't come top down. Like it all has to happen. Just like if you're running a company,
Totally.
you can't tell your employees, all right, so your goal is you need to read 50 pages of your book. It's all right. So what's your goal for the year? I want to read 50 books. Okay, awesome. So that's like how many books per week is that? Oh, it's about a book a week. Okay. So if you're going to read a book per week and you're going to read this book this week, how many pages do you think you need to read per day in order to do that? Oh, I need to read like 30 pages a day. Okay, cool. So when are you going to read those pages? Oh, I'll do like 15 before breakfast and I'll do like 15 after school. Okay, awesome. So let's write that down. So we're kind of practicing that level of what I said is so obvious for some people, but I work with high level entrepreneurs and you'd be surprised at how many people in life struggle with that act of setting a vision, creating a big goal, breaking that goal down into rocks and tasks, and then executing on each individual task. Like that skill is so valuable for life. And so we try to get practice with that. And then the last one's the most boring one, but it's very important and very practical. We just do week ahead. The week ahead is we literally just go day by day, just like all the shit that's happening, right? So, okay, set Thursdays, Bradley's soccer practice. Henry has yoga on Wednesday. Oh, daddy's traveling this week on this day. So mommy's got to take, the kids to school and pick them up. Doctor's appointment on this day, like literally just going. So there's no surprises of like, oh crap, late. Yeah. So we do that. And then we end with a family hug.
Thanks for listening today, fellas. If you got value from this episode, I ask that you take 1 second right now and you share this with another dad in your life that you respect, that you know is committed to becoming a better man, family man, and businessman. And on that note, I want to honor you for choosing growth. Your family will thank you years from now for all the effort that you're putting in to learn the strategies so you can show up more fully for them today. Take care.